Hello everybody, I'm glad you're here today. Today is July 21st, 2024. In this video, I'm going to bring you two dreams that I recorded in 2022 in my journal that I was referring to in my last video yesterday. So I'll go ahead. I read the comments. A lot of people was like, read the dreams. I have brought these dreams on this channel before, but I'm going to do it again. And we'll just see. I think we'll be able to glean some things from it this time that at that time maybe didn't make as much sense. So we're going to be talking about that. The big news today is Sunday. It's about 2:15 Central Time. And our Biden has dropped out of the race. That's the news that's come out. It's official. I listened to the statement. It was kind of odd because it didn't really give a solid reason why. I was expecting health reasons or something like that, but that wasn't what I heard. That wasn't part of that statement. So I thought that was odd. At this point in the game, y'all, I'm just like, throw it on the pile. Okay, throw it on the pile. I was expecting that by today. I mean, I had heard the news people I listened to had said it'll be by Sunday. It'll be by Sunday. So this does not surprise me. Moving forward, I have heard lots of things. I'm not a political analytic. I don't break down political things, okay? Now, y'all might, there's lots of people on YouTube who do. The Lord has basically told me they're all liars. All of them on both sides are liars. I used to love politics. I mean, my minor in education, elementary education, minoring in social studies, I loved government. I loved all of that kind of stuff. I no longer am intrigued by that. I find it distasteful. And so, I mean, my gig right now is Jesus Christ. I am a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. Jesus Christ. That's where I'm at. So, regardless of our political views, this is a shifting. In my mind, this is another. Our foundation is wiggling, it's shaking again, it's shifting. And so moving forward this week, I don't know what will happen in the political arena. Like I said, I've heard rumors. What have you heard? I'll tell you what I've heard, and believe me, these are rumors. I've heard rumors that he is not going to endorse Harris. That it will be an open kind of a convention at the Democratic convention where all these names are put forth. It hasn't happened like this since 1952 is my understanding. So I've heard that. I've heard Michelle Obama. I've heard good old Hillary. Oh, I mean, it's just like, okay, like I said, throw it on the pile. That is all I can do with this information. In thinking back about last week, we had several major shiftings that took place. The attempted assassination on Trump, the whole IT shutdown, Biden, he has COVID. Is he going to drop out? Blah, blah, blah. Things are popping off and getting hot in Israel again. So all of these things are happening last week, all in 1 week, just like all compressed into 1 week. So at this point, the only one that affected me when I look at that, the only one I'm really getting a little nervous about is that IT shutdown, because that did affect me. That did affect my friends. I know people it did affect. They could not get into their bank accounts. They could not pay their bills. I could not, even in my little bitty town, our bank was affected by it. So, because I went to the bank that day. I told that story. So, y'all, that's the thing that bothered me. That's the thing that I watched the interview of the, what's it called? CrowdStrike. Isn't that right? Company. I watched that him be interviewed. I don't know if it was the only interview he did. It's the one he's done since all of this shutdown happened. I got a feel. I was just looking at him and I prayed. I said, "Oh Lord, Father, what am I seeing here?" And I felt like the Lord was telling me. I just heard the word used, 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 usefully. Like I heard the word used, And then as I was praying about it, I heard the word usefully, used usefully, when I looked at that man. I can come up with some interpretations for that. I don't know yet. But that, whatever that was, and I do not believe it is as they are telling us. I cannot tell you what it is, but I do not. I do believe what it isn't. That's kind of where I'm at right now, and that affected me. And I can see them doing that again. How convenient to do it at the time where we vote, where it happens to the voting machines, where it happens at. So that's the one I'm most leery about, is that one. But this week, moving forward, there may be another one that comes up that's even worse. I mean, that's kind of where we're at. All right, so let me read these dreams to you. And now, the first one is July 7th, 2022. I'm doing it again, y'all. I think I'm just tired, really. Hang on just a sec. It's July 17th, 2022. And it was in the afternoon. This was my daughter Taylor's dream. Now, y'all, I've had her on the channel. She's fixing to be 30 in a week, and she lives with us. She's an RN. Okay, and here's what she said. And I'm going to try to do it from her perspective. I'm going to say she was in this, she was in that. So that's how I'm going to try to read this to you as best I can. Bear with me, okay? She was in Houston, and our family was there with her. It was Christmas, and we were all visiting my sister and her husband. Suddenly, she looked up and saw a huge, low-flying black plane. She knew it was an invasion. There was like fighter planes shooting at it. She saw a big, like, cargo plane take off. This was just like what she was seeing while we were there in Houston. Then the sky was full of military U.S. helicopters, like a flock of black birds. And that was flying above her. And I said to her, we are under attack on our own soil. And I said something like, the missile exchange is going to be in outer space, is what I told her. We're at war. Then we all got into a car. This is where I'm kind of not sure exactly the order. We got into a car, and as we were driving, all of the gas prices, we were driving to somewhere safe, all the gas prices on the gas stations were dropping. It was like 16 cents. It was like 25 cents. It was dropping by 16 cents, and then 25 cents, and then $1. And it just kept going down and down and down. And then I said to her, it's bad. The dollar has lost its value. Then we got into a safe place, or a place where it felt safe. And she was making guacamole. Now, Nana and G-Daddy were with us, my parents. So she was making guacamole, and she had messed it up. And so my mom, Nana, told her to go get avocados. She knew it wasn't safe outside, but she drove. We went with her, is my understanding. And we got to the first store, and there were no avocados or anything on the shelves. We got to the second store, and there was panic buying everywhere. And there were avocados, but they were two for $275. Two for $275. She thought that was so expensive. Then the dream changed, and she was married to a man named Mark. She took him to one of her old roommates' apartments, Alyssa, to introduce him. And there was a friend there named Frank Waters, who's a friend. And they were going to play a game with balloons on a string dipped in paint. Alyssa and Frank were saying that the war isn't real, and neither was the pandemic. The government made it all up. Earlier in the dream, this is what she wrote later, my sister and her husband had refused to see the war and refused to admit it was real. So that was that dream. Okay. Uh, I'm not going to go into a lot of interpretations. I will say this. I believe, and she was thinking, the name Mark is not Mark of the Beast. Mark is what she thought probably the meaning of the word Mark is war like. It's like war. WAR, war. Warlike. And so the balloons were really interesting because at this point, when she had this dream, I do not believe the Chinese balloon incident over the United States had happened. So that's when that happened. I remembered this dream, is what I'm thinking. Um, Tell me what you think of this dream. I'm going to defer to y'all for interpretation. You can please email me, GinaLimaCharlie@gmail.com, if you have some, like a long interpretation that you don't want to text. That's fine. I'll read it, and then I'll get on here soon, maybe if there's something really compelling, and bring you some of the interpretations by the people and brothers and sisters in the body who are gifted in that. I am not. So let me read this next one to you. This one my dad had on the same night as, or my daughter's was in the afternoon. This is what my dad dreamt that night. Okay, this one was, and y'all, these are some of the first, we were just in the very beginning of trying to understand these dreams and how they fit into God. And so, we were just kind of doing the best we could back then. That's what we're doing now. I'll read this to you. Hang on. Now, my dad was this is kind of what we're calling, this is like the red Hereford cow and the river dream. My dad was at a relative's house, like a woman. It was a weekend, and she was going to cook him breakfast. He felt like he needed to get back to work. She asked him to prune her maple tree. He said yes, and she gave him a box of tools. He was in the living room, and there was a man and woman that came in and sat on the couch. The man wanted to help my dad with the pruning. My dad opened the box of tools, and there was a hydraulic jack and a saw that had a square blade on it. He went to the maple tree. He went outside to the maple tree in the backyard, and my dad began to saw a live branch at the base of the tree, and it would not saw off. So difficult. The man said, "Here, cut this dead one off on the other side first." It cut through so easily, like butter. He started sawing that dead branch. It was easy peasy. Suddenly, two black cows ran through the backyard, and my dad said, "Oh no, the cows are out." So they chased the cows. The cows came to a cliff and jumped off of it into a raging river. My dad was going to jump in too to get them, but the man said, "No, it's not safe. Go this way." So they went another way, and my dad got a big stick to try to guide the cows to the shore. He jumped in, and the cows were ahead of him. The guy jumped in behind him and began to drown. My dad tried to help him, but he saw ahead of them in the river a huge obstruction kind of thing, literally like a wall of something across the whole river. My dad braced, knowing they were going to hit it. They did, but he didn't feel anything. Everything stopped. It was like, nearly like a portal that he went through. He was suddenly alone on the other side, on a shore. So suddenly alone on the shore by the river. After a bit, to his right, all these red and white Hereford cows came out of the river. He kept expecting to see the two black cows, but he didn't. Instead, a black cow with a white face walked out of the river behind the reds, and he had thought, "I don't have to work anymore." That was his last thought. He thought, "I don't have to work anymore." That was the end of the dream. So I'm going to leave that with you. So I'm not going to expound on those. I'm going to let you simmer on that and do what you need to with that. Here are the two. I will say the couple of things that stuck with me are the balloons. The Mark being who she was, like a warlike. I think that's the second that we've had the name Mark. My dad has had dreams with the name. Or no, it was a town, wasn't it? San Marcos. Yep, Texas. That he had a dream. Wow, it's all coming back to me. He had a dream about a hospital being full of casualties in San Marcos, Texas. Y'all remember that one? I'll have to go back and find that one. So Mark has been in our dreams before, and I think it means warlike. I also think it's interesting the guacamole is, or the avocados. Avocados are from Mexico primarily. That's where we get ours. And then my dad was sawing down a maple tree, which is Canada. So I'm thinking, that invasion from the north and the south, from both countries. That's just a thought that comes to my mind as I just put an umbrella over this. I do think it's interesting once again. It was a holiday. It was a lot of times we're at Thanksgiving or Christmas. There's something about that time period. I'm not sure what year that is, or if that means that that's when this takes place. I don't know. But I do find it as a common thread throughout what we as a family dreams. What we, now I do, what we, when we dream prophetic dreams, often that's an element of it. So my sister not believing it and not thinking it's real, same with my brother-in-law, that is similar to their inclinations. So they're very skeptical about a lot of stuff. They're kind of, they don't, as long as their lives are going well, they're not all that interested in what's happening in the rest of the world. Kind of mildly interested, but not much. So that would be very parallel to what was in my daughter's dream. Now I do a 275. Y'all are gonna have to look for that. Tell me what that number may mean. Now, when it comes to the tools and the maple tree and the cows and the raging river and what's on the other side of the river, it seems, I don't know if that's heavenly. I don't know. In a way, y'all, and I mean, I just now taught this in my Bible class just a few hours ago, because this is Sunday. The cows coming out of the river remind me of Pharaoh's dream in Genesis. Joseph interprets that. Remember, Joseph is in prison, and the butler and the baker had their dreams, and the baker died, and the butler was restored to Pharaoh's house, and in 2 years, I mean, Joseph was like, hey, remember me to Pharaoh when you get there. Well, 2 years later, the butler remembers. They get Joseph, and Joseph is the one that interprets the drought through Pharaoh's dreams. Cows coming out of the river. I wonder if that's pointing that to us. 7 years of prepare now during the good times, because there's going to be some bad times coming. I don't know. That thought occurs to me. You tell me what you think. All right. Now then, I'm going to leave that with you. Tomorrow, we have doctor's appointments in the city that we have to go to, and I have responsibilities with my mother-in-law that we have to deal with. But what I do plan on posting is a snippet of a video of our bell at our church, the real bell, the cast iron bell, and it being rung, and what it sounds like on the inside and the outside of the church building. Y'all, it's not great. Don't think it's going to be great, okay? Because it's going to be just a little blip of a video, but at least you'll get to see what I'm talking about and see what it kind of looks like up there. I'm going to make another video where I actually go into the bell tower, but this is just kind of looking up through a crack in the ceiling so you can see the big cast iron bell. So that's coming tomorrow. It's not going to be earth-shattering, but we'll at least be able to touch base. If I do make a video tomorrow, it will be on the road, as if something has happened where we need to connect with each other. But I'm not expecting Of course, these days I'm not expecting anything, and at the same time, I'm expecting everything. All right. So my peaches come here in a little few hours. I got 30 pounds of peaches coming, and I'm fixing to fry my squash, y'all. I picked my first squash today, and we're gonna have fried squash this afternoon just to eat, and it is a little filling, so that may be our supper. Anyway, y'all, that's all I have. Get close to Jesus while the wind is still open, y'all. While you have the chance. Time is running out. Stay safe, America. This is Gina Lima Charlie. I'm out.